Milli Vanilli was a singing group with Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus. They won 3 American Music Awards in 1990 for Best Pop Rock New Artist, Best Soul R&B New Artist, and Best Pop Rock Single. And their well-known song, called Girl You Know It's True, was so popular it even earned them a Grammy Award for the Best New Artist on February 21st, 1990, beating out groups like Soul to Soul. But not long after they won the Grammy, their secret would be exposed by none other than the person who was the mastermind behind the whole charade, Frank Farian. You see, what people didn't know was that Milli Vanilli was actually lip-syncing, therefore not really deserving of such a prestigious award. In the end, they did end up giving back the award, but not because they had to, which was a misconception by many, but because they wanted to. They felt like it was the right thing to do. They really didn't even want to win the award. Yes, they were excited to be nominated, but they knew that winning would bring a lot of attention to them, and they did not want that. People were already very skeptical of them. One instance was when they were on MTV in July 24, 1989, and the computer skipped and repeated the same words over and over again, making it quite obvious that they weren't singing live. But even though many people thought that's what started the downfall of their career, Fab explained in DJ Vlad's interview that it was actually no big deal because that was the beginning of their careers in America. What destroyed their careers were actually the skits and people talking. You see, some people didn't understand why they sounded so different when they spoke in interviews compared to when they sang. They were so skeptical that TV shows started to do skits about their strong accents. For example, In Living Color did one of their accents. And on the Arsenio Hall show, he would talk about their strong accents and how things just didn't add up. After they won the Grammy and were working on their second album, Fab and Rob wanted to sing the songs themselves, but their team said absolutely not. So in turn, they said that until they were able to use their voices, they weren't going to be able to do any more promotional activities. But that tactic didn't work, and instead of Frank Farian agreeing with them, he decided to stop working with them and exposed their secret in a press conference on November 14, 1990. Fab and Rob were absolutely shocked because Frank was the one that put everything together. After being exposed, Fab and Rob decided to hold a press conference to do some damage control, but the press was relentless, which surprised Fab and Rob. Fab Morvan was a model and dancer, and he met Rob Pilatus at a nightclub who was a model, dancer, and singer, and they decided to become a duet. They got their break when Frank Farian noticed them and asked them to sign a music deal. Well, it's been 30 years. So whatever happened to Milli Vanilli? Well, after the scandal and press conference, both Fab and Rob had a hard time going from being famous to now being infamous. It took a toll on both their lives. Fab told Oprah on Where Are They Now that he had to rehabilitate himself into civilian life. He said he stayed home for years. He only went out to eat. And he said that Rob didn't do well with the humiliation, and that's when he turned to addiction. Well, years after the scandal and the drama died down, Fab and Rob decided to be a duet again, calling themselves Rob and Fab, but this time singing their own songs. But unfortunately, in 1993, their album didn't do too well, partly because people just couldn't forget what happened, so they decided that it would be in their best interest to dismantle the group. While they were separated, Rob started struggling with substance abuse, and he even attempted suicide because of the drama surrounding the scandal. He even ended up going to prison in 1996, but fortunately, when he got released, he was able to go to rehab. And in 1997, Fab, Rob, and the man that exposed their secret, Frank Farian, decided to go back into the studio and do a new album together. But unfortunately, the night before they were going to go on a promotional tour, Rob was found dead in his hotel room. He was 32 years old. They never ended up releasing the album they made. After Rob's death, Fab didn't know what to do. He said it was like losing a part of himself. He said in order to honor Rob and himself, he promised to make the name Milli Vanilli mean, when you fall, you stand back up and move on. So to keep his promise, in 2003, Rob's solo album came out called Love Revolution, and around 2009, he started working with DJs in the studio and he started to sing electronic dance music. In April 2011, Fab released another single called Anytime, and on May 25, 2012, Fab released a song called See the Light, his new single, with a new band called Fabulous Addiction. And in 2015, as per his website, it says he worked with KFC. It says KFC Netherlands has chosen Fab Morvan, ex Milli Vanilli, to be the new face and voice for their latest ad campaign, What's Real and What Isn't. And in 2018, Fab performed some of his songs from his Milli Vanilli days live at Smukfest. In an interview in March 2020, Fab was talking to Mario Lopez from Access Hollywood about a biopic movie about Milli Vanilli. We're figuring it out. It's about getting the right team. I've been waiting for a long time to make sure that when the story comes out, I want to make sure that it's brought in the proper way. It's important, he explained to Lopez. Now, if you want to keep in touch with Fab, you can follow him on Instagram and Twitter at Fab Morvan and Facebook at Fab Morvan fan page. He also has a website if anybody wants to check it out at fabmorvan.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to push that subscribe button so you can find out whatever happened to all your favorites.